Hello, welcome back to the online teaching. And in the previous video lesson, we have, gone through the first part of the chapter Indigo. We have come to know what the word indigo means, about the author, and theme and the sub theme of the chapter, and the characters. And yes, of course, we dealt with some four paragraphs, right? So now, based on the four paragraphs, I would like to ask you these questions. It is a kind of a recapitulation for you, right? You see here, think as you read. So strike out what is not true in the following, right? So you have to, strike this, the option which are not true, right? So Rajkumar Shukla was a sharecropper. So do you think Rajkumar Shukla was a sharecropper, a politician, delegate, or a landlord? So which are the options that you are going to strike out? You're going to strike second, a politician, because he was not surely a politician, all right? And he was not a landlord, all right? Now, for this third option, delegate, if we are talking from, people attending the International Congress Party, surely he was not a delegate to attend the meeting. But if we look at the other side, Rajkumar Shukla was a kind of a representative representing the entire sharecroppers in Champaran. So the reason why he came to Gandhi was to share not only his problem but the problems of all the sharecroppers. All right. So in that sense, he can be considered a delegate, but unofficially he wasn't because right. Okay. So two options: a politician and a landlord. Okay. Second one, B. Rajkumar Shukla was poor, which is right, physically strong, and the third one, illiterate. So, which is the option, or which are the options that is or are incorrect? Rajkumar was poor? Yes, he was poor, right? He was physically strong? No, he wasn't. In fact, he was physically weak, emaciated, right? And he was illiterate? Yes, he was. So, second option is the answer that you are going to strike out. Because the question asks whichever statement or the option is incorrect, you have to strike it out, all right? And the second question asks, why is Rajkumar Shukla described as being resolute? So, if you go through, the person, the character by name Rajkumar Shukla, you will know even though he was illiterate, he was resolute. So, what makes him a person with strong determination, or why can he be termed as a resolute man, right? Yeah, so the answer would be like wherever Gandhi went, after approaching Gandhi and sharing the problems faced by sharecroppers in Champaran, uh, he followed Gandhi everywhere, right? Even though he was illiterate, he made sure he was, so determined in making Gandhi come and visit his place, Champaran, all right? So we haven't dealt with the third question. So as in when we finish with the explanation and when we go through the exercises, we'll come to that. All right. Okay. So that's all about recapitulation. Now moving on to the next paragraph. Months passed. Right. So months passed means after several months when Gandhi had meeting. When he had finished meeting at Kolkata, right? Rajkumar Shukla was sitting in his haunches at the appointed spot in Calcutta when Gandhi arrived. So Rajkumar Shukla was there at the set spot, or the spot where he was supposed to wait for Gandhi. All right, and he was sitting in a position where the thigh and buttock touch. All right, so it's more of like you can imagine somebody sitting in an Indian uh, toilet. All right, So he was found sitting in such situation or not situation, sitting position, waiting at the appointed spot in Calcutta. Remember why he had come to Calcutta was because Gandhi asked him to wait there at the particular spot in Calcutta because Gandhi had to attend a meeting there. All right, and thereon he was supposed to take Gandhi to Champaran. Right? He waited till Gandhi was free. So this sentence indicates that Rajkumar Shukla was not only resolute, but he was a man of great patience. As soon as he did not react, as soon as he saw Gandhi, he waited patiently until Gandhi finished his meeting or all his work. Right? Then the two of them boarded a train for the city of Patna in Bihar. Then two of them means Rajkumar Shukla and Mahatma Gandhi. So they boarded a train from Calcutta and they started their journey towards Patna, which is the capital city of Bihar. All right. So there means there at Patna, Shukla led him to the house of a lawyer named Rajendra Prasad, who later became the president of Congress Party and of India. So after having reached Patna, Gandhiji was taken by Rajkumar Shukla to Rajendra Prasad's house. So during those days, Rajendra Prasad was a lawyer, all right, and later on, after many years, he became the president of Indian National Congress Party, and later on, he became the president of India. All right. So Gandhi was taken to Rajendra Prasad's house, who was then a lawyer. Right. So Rajendra Prasad was out of town, but the servants knew Shukla as a poor yeoman. Yeoman means a poor farmer who pestered or who annoyed, who kept coming to seek help, who irritated their master to help the indigo sharecroppers. Right. So unfortunately for Rajkumar Shukla and Gandhi, Rajendra Prasad, the person whom they came to meet, was not at his home. He was out of town, and at in his house there were servants working. All right. So the servants thought that Gandhi must be also one of the sharecroppers because they had seen Rajkumar Shukla coming frequently or oftenly to Rajendra Prasad's house to seek help from Rajendra Prasad with regard to the injustice meted out to them, or the trouble borne by these Indian sharecroppers. All right. So the servants somehow guessed that Rajkumar Shukla was also uh, Gandhiji was also one of the sharecroppers. So they let him stay on the grounds with his companion Gandhi, whom they took to be another peasant. Like I explained, the servants had known Rajkumar Shukla quite well because of his several visits to the house, right? So they also thought Gandhi to be one of the peasants who accompanied Rajkumar Shukla. So instead of offering chairs to sit on, they were allowed to sit on the floor. All right. So this indicates that Gandhi was not a well-known figure in India, right? Especially the servants did not even know about Gandhi, right? But Gandhi was not permitted to draw water from the well, lest some drops from his bucket pollute the entire source. So Gandhi might have felt thirsty, all right? So what he did was he went to the well that was outside the house. You know what is well? Thomba, or like where people in ancient times pull water from. Okay, so he went there to pull some water to drink, but Gandhi was not allowed to take water from well because they believed that Gandhi was untouchable. Untouchable is the social stigma, practiced so severely in those ancient times. But even these days, it is still practiced, but not as seriously as in those days. All right. So But Gandhi was not permitted to draw water from the well, lest some drops from his bucket pollute the entire. So what happens when you try to take water from the well? You tie a bucket, or the bucket is already tied to the other end of the rope, and the other end would be held by the person who is going to pull the water, right? So you throw the bucket into the well, and when bucket goes into water, and when you pull the rope, bucket comes out with full of water. So it's obvious, it's sure thing that some of the drops from bucket would fall back into the well, isn't it? So the servants, believing Gandhi to be untouchable, was not allowed to take water or pull water from the well, because they thought that the drops that would fall from the bucket would pollute the entire water of the well, in the well. All right. Okay, so how did they know that he was not an untouchable? But pathetically, the servants did not know that Gandhi was not an untouchable. All right. Okay, so here this theme of, or you can say the status of untouchable is being reflected. All right. Okay, next one. Now you might have got the answer for the third question here. Why do you think the servants thought Gandhi to be another peasant? All right. Gandhi was thought to be another peasant because he was with Rajkumar Shukla, and Rajkumar Shukla had oftenly or frequently visited Rajendra Prasad's house to seek help, right, with regard to the sharecroppers' problems in Champaran, right? Okay, the next paragraph. Gandhi decided to go first to Muzaffarpur, which was en route to Champaran. En route means on the way to Champaran. So when they would not meet Rajendra Prasad, they decided, especially Gandhi decided to go to or stop by Muzaffarpur, which falls on the way to Champaran. All right. Why? To obtain more complete information about conditions that Shukla was capable of imparting, or imparting means sharing. So the reason why Gandhi wanted to stop at Muzaffarpur is to collect more accurate information, more information that Rajkumar Shukla could share with Gandhi. All right. He accordingly sent a telegram to Professor J.P. Kriplani of the Arts College in Muzaffarpur, whom he had seen at Tagore's Shanti Niketan school. So before starting on their journey towards Muzaffarpur, Gandhi had written, or had drafted a telegram asking, telling or informing Professor J.P. Kriplani about his arrival at Muzaffarpur. All right, telegram in those days uh, is the quickest means of communication. All right, each word costs some money. All right, so but these days it is now kind of disappeared. All right, telegram. Okay, so now you may be wondering how come Gandhi knows Professor J.P. Kriplani. Now here is the explanation. J.P. Kriplani and Gandhi met, all right, or he had seen J.P. Kriplani at Tagore's Shanti Niketan school in one of the in in past. All right, so he had seen or met J.B. Kriplani at that particular school named Tagore's Shanti Niketan school. So they have come to know about each other then, right? The train arrived at midnight, 15th April 1917. So the train that was taking Mahatma Gandhi and Rajkumar Shukla, they reached Muzaffarpur at midnight. Midnight means 12 a.m. exact. And the day on which they arrived was 15th April 1917. Kriplani was waiting at the station with a large body of students. So Kriplani was there with a group of students to welcome Gandhi at the railway station. Gandhi stayed there for 2 days in the home of Professor Malkani, a teacher in the government school. Okay, so now after having reached Muzaffarpur, Gandhi required a place to stay, isn't it? Right? So Gandhi stayed for 2 days. Where? In the house or in the home of Professor Malkani, right? So who was also a teacher in the government school. Now here is an important sentence which you need to know. All right. It was an extraordinary thing in those days, Gandhi commented. So this means that during those days, the Indian people were so scared of showing their support, showing their, what do you call, uh, or sympathizing Gandhi. All right. Okay. So the action done by Malkani was, allowing Gandhi to stay at his own home for 2 days. All right. So that was something extraordinary in those days. Those days means when India was still under British rule. All right. Now you may be wondering, what is that extraordinary thing? Obviously, it is about allowing Gandhi to stay at his home or in his home for 2 days, right? So he explains why that act is considered an extraordinary thing. For a government professor to harbor a man like me, right? So Gandhi explains later that it was a great courage or great step taken by Professor Malkani in making or allowing Gandhi to stay in his home for 2 days because he was a government professor. All right, so government is under British rule, isn't it? So if he shows sympathy or support to Gandhi, who is then an advocate of home rule, he might be suspended from his job. He might be, like punished for being, supportive of Gandhi and his ideology. Okay, so that is why it was an extraordinary thing in those days. In smaller localities, the Indians were afraid to show sympathy for advocates of home rule. So in smaller localities, in like what do you call in smaller rural areas, the commoners were so scared of showing their sympathy, showing their support for Gandhi, who advocated, who supported, who followed home rule. Home rule means, okay, ruling the home by its own people. So Gandhi has this belief that India belongs to Indians, and Indians should rule its own nation, right? Now, their own nation, that is India, not to be ruled by some other nation, right? So that's why he can also be called as advocate of home rule. So Professor Malkani allowing Gandhi to stay in his home for 2 days was an extraordinary thing in those days. Have you understood? Okay, so now Gandhi had somehow come to know that Indians are somewhat fearful of, British fearful of showing their support or sympathy for Gandhi, all right? Fearful of the Britishers, huh? And the news of Gandhi's advent or arrival and of the nature of his mission spread quickly through Muzaffarpur and to Champaran. So the news about Gandhi's reason in coming to Champaran spread like a wildfire. People came to know why a person by name Gandhi had arrived, all right, and people started the news spread through Muzaffarpur and then on to Champaran. Sharecroppers from Champaran began arriving on foot and by conveyance to see their champion. So people, after knowing the news, they had somehow had known that Gandhi, like had come there to deliver justice or help these Indian sharecroppers get justice. They started coming to Muzaffarpur to have a view or to see Gandhi. All right. So since Muzaffarpur and Champaran are at distance, they started some of the people started walking, started arriving on foot, and some started traveling in bullock carts and so on, all right, through other means. uh, Muzaffar lawyers called on okay, now here, to see their champion. Their champion here refers to Gandhi, right? Muzaffarpur lawyers called on Gandhi to brief him. They frequently represented peasant groups in court. They told him about their cases and reported the size of their fees. So, after having arrived at Muzaffarpur, Gandhiji gathered the lawyers who are there, who are in Muzaffarpur, and he asked what they had been doing, or asked them to brief Gandhi about the situation. All right, and then they informed Gandhi that they visited courts to present the problem, to present the issue in court. All right, and so that's what the Indian lawyers in Muzaffarpur had been doing, taking the case of injustice meted out to these Indian sharecroppers, and their case of injustice were taken to courts, and they also told or informed him about their cases, and they also mentioned how much fee they collect from the Indian sharecroppers. All right. Gandhi chided. Chided means scolded. All right. Gandhi chided the lawyers for collecting big fee from the sharecroppers. All right. He said, I have come to the conclusion that we should stop going to law courts. Taking such cases to the courts does little good. Where the peasants are so crushed and fear stricken, law courts are useless. The real relief for them is to be free from fear. Now, the reason why Gandhi scolded the lawyers who represented the case in court was because of the amount of fees that they collect from poor sharecroppers. They are already poor, and taking fees from there would cause them more problem, isn't it? So that's why Gandhi called them, and he realized that taking their cases or fighting these cases in the court is not going to help them, right? So he has come to the conclusion that instead of going to law courts, uh, they should or Gandhi should focus on making Indians fearless of Britishers. Okay, so that means the reason, the prime purpose or the main purpose why Gandhi came to Champaran is to give justice to Indian sharecroppers, right? But that main focus is now slightly going to be deviated, all right? Because Gandhi realized that Indians are so scared of Britishers that even their cause, no matter how truth or how strong their case is, they are surely going to lose. So he decided to deviate from his to prime purpose of delivering justice to Indian sharecroppers, to making the Indians, each and every Indian, fearless. All right. So that is, now there's a change in his purpose. Okay. All right. Uh, Most of the arable land in Champaran district was divided into large estates owned by Englishmen and worked by Indian tenants. All right. So most of the arable lands means the land that can be cultivated, the land that has fertile soil. Right. So most of such land in Champaran district were owned by Englishmen. They were divided into estates, all right, a big plantation, So they were owned by Englishmen, but the workers working on such lands are Indian farmers, right? The chief commercial crop was indigo. So, like I said, due to what do you call uh, due to great demand in indigo, the Indian farmers were made to cultivate indigo. All right. So the commercial crop, the commercial means something that has to do with making money or earning profit. The landlords compelled means forced, forcing all the tenants to plant 3/20 or 15% of their holdings with Indigo and surrender the entire Indigo harvest as rent. This was done by long-term contract. Now, this is what uh, means long-term contract means. Remember, we have come across this ancient agreement or ancient arrangement, right? So now, what was there in the contract that was laid between British landlords and the Indian sharecroppers? The content of the ancient agreement or the long-term contract was, okay, the Indian farmers would be cultivating or you would be using the land that belonged to English landlords, right? But in the contract, it was mentioned that suppose if you have, like 1 acre or, or 100% of land, out of which you have to cultivate 15% of the total land holdings with Indigo. So that was the compulsion, that was the force being, uh, you know, uh, implied on the Indian farmers, right? So whether they like it or not, the Indian farmers compulsorily had to cultivate 15% of the land of the total land holding with Indigo. All right, that was what is in the contract. All right. Okay, so I will stop here and we'll continue in the next video. See you.